Hello everyone, welcome. Thanks for being here instead of watching the Portugal-Uzbekistan World Cup game that's going on right now, as I just found out.
Rust
Oh,
game devs belike. Let me just install the player controller library. Okay, now let me install the enemy library. Now let me install the library that handles the window close button elegantly.
that's a joke, right? That's a joke, right? That's a joke, right? How much is cargo like NPM? It's a joke, thank you. um, how much is cargo like NPM though? Do you have an is even? Can I see cargo packages? By the way, is there a way I can see that? Cargo packages. Is even. Returns true if the number is odd. That seems like a joke. Specialized is even checking for U16 numbers. This does not seem like a joke. i7 API. A Rust wrapper for is even API. Is even returns true if the given function is in is even. Can I see the code for that? Assert is even. I32 is even. Not is even. Is even. Not is even. A boba. Can I see the code? Repository. Source. Watch it have 50. Watch it have 50 different. How many lines of code is it? Okay, 30. To be fair, this is adding most of that. It's one. It just has all the hard-coded functions, and then it checks if it contains the current function that was passed in. Alright. Couldn't have done it better myself. Lisp or a riot? Look. It's not gonna be Racket. I mean, that was the stupidest fucking thing I've dealt with in a while with Racket yesterday. But. Okay, the issue that I was having with my code yesterday that was genuinely so ridiculous that led me to looking into other Lisp dialects turns out was a little bit of a misunderstanding. Apparently, some website told me that this syntax is shorthand for make a list out of the items in here. Essentially, that this is shorthand for this. And so I was using it like that. Turns out that's not what it is. And it's apparently... I'm actually not entirely sure what it is. But I think it's like some form of escape. Not escape. Quote. Character. Expands to a list whose first element is quote and whose second element is the object. Fuck you mean? What does that mean? That's not even an AI overview. That's an actual answer. Anyway, I don't really understand what it is. To be honest, I'm not. The point is, I was using that thing under the wrong assumption. I don't know who lied to me. I don't know if I just misunderstood. But yeah, that was the mistake. However, before we get into BSD, also BSD is dead. Checking out Linux? No, thank you. No. I've never used BSD. I mostly just want to see what that's like. But Linux is oof, not my friend. Not my friend. We're co-workers. We have a common environment, if you will, but we are very much not friends. Passes the list as data rather than execution as function. Look, I'm sure I could parse what you said, but it is like 40 degrees. So, weather update. You see that color? The red? There was a little bit of yellow down there. That's because I was zoomed out. That's not actually in Spain. It's a breezy 37 degrees right now. Oof. Feels like it. Wow, I can really... So breezy today. Yeah, it was 38. Also, check out Arch. No. You know, I did check out Omachi. I thought it was the stupidest thing ever, but... yeah, whatever. Anyway, no, actually, backseating is mostly allowed. I think it's okay. I don't see the problem with it, especially with a language that I don't know that well, like Lisp. But yeah, okay. So it turns out the thing that I was super frustrated with yesterday was just me misunderstanding something that I learned very early on, and so it kind of builds into this like kind of immutable belief that you're then like, oh, well, you don't even consider it as, is that the problem? Essentially. So that's yeah, that's the problem that I was having yesterday. However, I did become frustrated with that and the way that Common Lisp handles files and folders. Mostly files, because it doesn't actually handle folders like at all. So I decided to check out Racket. I do want to point out that Racket's documentation is like, well, if you ran our script using sudo, then everything is already on your path. If it isn't, figure it out, bitch. That's pretty much what it says. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's pretty much what it says. Like zero troubleshooting help in the documentation. But the worst part is they explicitly tell you if it isn't, and then they don't actually help you. Like if you hadn't put that in your documentation, I would have just been like, well, they haven't considered this possibility. But no, they did. They just were like, nah, we're too good. We didn't mess anything up. Pfft, whatever. Not sure which BSD I'm checking out yet. We're gonna look into that in a minute. Alright, here's the thing though about Common Lisp. One thing that I truly deeply hate about it. Path names. My god. My god. My god. Alright, so here we have this function, get current working directory. This returns a path name, which is, my very basic understanding, a string, but specifically representing a path. Right? So what I was doing is taking that and appending that to these URLs, right? Current directory is packaging, and then input, staging, and templates. These three folders in here. And so to do that, you just put this. That makes a literal path name. And you can concatenate it with the current working directory. So I have the current working directory, which is red build packaging. Whatever, I misspelled it, doesn't matter. Then I have staging, let's say, and then I have another file name or folder. Actually, the issue that I was having was with templates, right? And then I had one of these template folders, right? Like redacted, for example. Somehow, I tried every possible combination of making this thing work, and I could not put these three paths together. It mostly deleted this one off the string. It didn't give me any errors, it just deleted it. Sometimes it also deleted this one. And I don't care how you built your file system library, but if you made a type called path name that allows me to merge path names together, and there is a possibility that the middle one disappears, I don't care what justification you have for this, you did a shit job. You messed it up. Like, there's no way around it. It's just stupid that the middle one would disappear. Also, even once I started like looking into this, why is this happening? I started to understand it's because sometimes it treats it as, whether it treats it as a directory or as a file, it's different, which is already stupid by itself, but whatever. Even once I understood that and I started doing it properly, I still couldn't get it to work. So now I just transform all my path names to strings, and I just use them as strings. Which, by the way, concatenate for strings allows you to pass as many strings as you want. Merge path names only allows you to pass 2 at a time. So you have to merge these 2, and then you have to merge that with this. Or any combination. None of them worked, so whatever. I like the language, but path names are absolutely idiotic. I've never seen something implemented this poorly by a language that wasn't web-based. Because JavaScript has some shit going on. But this is genuinely stupid. However, yesterday I was also doing something really stupid, which is like, by the way, this entire thing is for packaging executables into .apps, app images, and .reds, and whatever the fuck Windows uses. Well, yesterday what I was doing is I was creating templates that have the proper directory structure for all of these. For example, the Mac applications have a subfolder called contents, and everything is inside of that. And then I had some files that essentially their content looked like this. Yeah, sure, .app image, whatever, autocomplete it, don't care. Which is supposed to be what the directory is supposed to look like internally, so that I can parse this file, replace all the things with the... What is that called in English, goddammit? The @ symbol. Doesn't it have a specific name? Whatever. Anything that uses this symbol with the true value that should have come from config over here, which is being covered config over here, which does that. And then iterate through this and create the directory structure based on this, also looking at this to know when to copy. That is stupid. Because Common Lisp allows you to do this like this. Look at how elegant that is. This is a red package. I make a directory. What is the directory called? Well, it's the mix between the name of the package and .red. Again, if path names were implemented properly, there could maybe even be a better, more elegant way of doing this, but I couldn't be bothered. Then I just create a file called package.info inside of that. What does the package.info look like? Well, I actually load a template from the redacted folder called the package.info. There, right now it still has string substitutions. I wonder if I can Lispify that as well, but for now, yeah, that works. Actually, it doesn't. I don't have the parsing done, but yeah, it's supposed to work. But the point is, load this template, create a file with this name, and put the template inside. Then copy the directory resources, which is supposed to be in the input, into the bundle. And then copy the executable, which is going to be the name of the package .elf. That's it. Look how easy that is. And it also allows you to do directory structures in a very elegant way. Because like I said, the .app for Mac starts with a name.app. Inside of it, there's a subdirectory called contents. Inside of that, there's going to be an info.plist file, which it loads from a template. Besides the file, there's going to be a resources folder. This is where your icons are going to go. But I don't have any of that yet. Inside of that resources folder, I can put my own resources folder, because that's the way that my applications work internally. This makes them perfectly compatible. It looks a little weird having two folders with the same name inside of each other, but it doesn't really matter. It is a bit of a hack, but whatever. And then whatever else I want to do here. Copy icon. Whatever, or even package icon, whatever. The point is I can do all this with code. You don't like the way that I did it, you need something custom, just write your own code. Write your own version of this. There is technically eval, so you can even do it without... No, there's no compilation actually, it's all interpreted. That is the beautiful thing about interpreted languages, and the beautiful thing about Lisp. It kind of allows you to make specific syntax that works with what you want to do. And that really the closest I have come to a language that tries to do this is Swift. And I love Swift, but their compiler can time out. It can fail by timing out. So Lisp doesn't have that because it does the same thing, but much, much simpler. It's just a much simpler language. But yeah, like this make dir thing here is actually a macro. It's a macro that, you know, takes the old directory name, the current one that you're in, creates the directory using mkdir, because again, the file system library does not know that the directories exist for some fucking reason. Then goes into that directory, does a print for some reason, which I need to get rid of, that was from debugging, then runs whatever the second argument was, or the other arguments actually are, which is what allows me to do that whole like thing that mimics the directory structure. See. And then go back to the previous directory after you're done. So it already allows me to recursively do all this stuff. It allows me to not care about like which directory I'm in. You know, oh, I put this inside of contents. It shouldn't have gone inside of contents. Boom, move it outside. That easy. That easy. That is a very cool thing about Lisp. Really, the only issue I have is with the file system. Everything to do with the file system. Both the library that they have for that and path names. And Racket, for the love of God, what was that? Run this installer. Great, now start the interpreter. Try to start the interpreter, doesn't work. Okay, where is the interpreter? You should know that. Why are you asking us? You should know that. It's in your path, actually, because our script cannot possibly fail. What do you mean it's not? Pfft, are you stupid? Anyway, after the stream, I ended up scouring my file system for the uninstall script, and I uninstalled Racket. So thank you for the LSP on Z, because that's the LSP that I'm actually using for Common Lisp. But we don't need you for literally anything else. Alright. Basada. Here's the thing. BSD will be considered superior to Linux if the head of its collective developers and users is not located within the ass of its collective developers and users. That is my criteria for liking BSD. The bar that Linux has set is on the fucking ground. That's all I can tell you. I use Debian right now. I switched to it like a week ago, so kind of new to it. Alright, there is free BSD, but there's other BSDs. Is there a list? I don't think there's as many as there are Linux distros. And unfortunately, I don't think there is a Hannah Montana BSD like there is a Hannah Montana Linux. So there's no clear choice. Bungo Stray Dogs. What is that? Oh, that looks, okay. Distributions. List of BSD operating system. What you got going on? Okay. We got Clone OS. We got Ghost BSD, Hello System. I'm skipping some. I'm not reading all of these. There's still a lot. Orbis OS and Cell OS, the PlayStation 3 and 4 operating system. Wait, I kind of knew that. Damn. Okay. That's very interesting. But not the 5. Do we know? Probably Orbis based on FreeBSD like PS4. According to this, it's FreeBSD 11 in the PS5. This person is confirming it. Based on the copyright data of 2016, suggests either FreeBSD 10 or 11. Jesus, the fact that they're scouring through every little bit of information to know the operating system that the PlayStation 5 runs. Is there no way to, like, know that? There's gotta be some people who are able to dig into the internals of PlayStation, right? Anyway. Since the early 2000s, there are 4 major BSD operating systems: FreeBSD, NetBSD, OpenBSD, and Dragonfly BSD. An increasing number of other OSs forked from these that add or remove certain features, but most remain compatible with their originating OSs. Alright. Is it like Linux is not less evil, but like smarter brother? The successful sibling? Is this the successful sibling? Well, no, actually, macOS is the successful sibling, which is forked from... Is that here somewhere? Oh, literally right there. I literally just saw it. It's based off FreeBSD. No. Darwin-based, which is derived from FreeBSD. Okay. Yeah. So, it's technically the successor to Unix alongside Mac. Because Mac is, yeah, a successor to this thing. Alright, so we have NetBSD, FreeBSD, OpenBSD. They're different. Free and open, they're not the same thing. How do I know which one is better? Does anyone have any preferences? Does anyone think that there's is the BSD community as passionate as the Linux community? That word is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Linux is dead, yeah. Died late last night, RIP. Still can't believe it. Sometimes it still feels like it's here. But it's not. Oh no. That's how I'm reading that, by the way. Oh no. Aw. I was talking to you yesterday evening. Damn, that sucks. I'm sorry. Sorry for your loss. I do think it's in a better place. Actually, no, I think we're in a better place. Alright, let's see. There's FreeBSD, and I guess I'm also going to look at the IBM 360. Or OpenBSD. I mean, website-wise, it's a clear winner. I'm going to give FreeBSD a try. All right. No, we're off to a great start. It feels really user-friendly from the very beginning. I'm thinking that's the thing that I need. By the way, shit, I don't have that thing installed anymore. The QEMU wrapper with a GUI. QEMU GUI wrapper Linux. I can't find it. It's none of these. No, it's not CLI. I want GUI. Vert Manager. Vert Manager. That's the one. All right. Yeah, I switched to KDE because Ubuntu died on me, and it's a whole thing, really. Is there a reason why my download is floating here? Okay, so, apt-get Vert Manager. Sudo, most likely. Will it run without sudo? Install Vert Manager. Unable. Literally just don't do shit like this, and you're already better than Linux. Wasn't I supposed to be using a window manager? I am using a window manager. I mean, I have Windows, so I have to have a window manager. Come on, my dude. i3 or Hyperland? Oh, right. This is a desktop environment. Sorry, I got my janky Linux software terminology a little bit mixed up sometimes. What were those results? Was that from my history? System policy prevents management of local virtualized systems. Who set that system up? That was not me. What the fuck? Alright. Oh, the thing I downloaded is boot only, isn't it? I didn't download an installer, technically. I think. But I should be fine with this. I think also. This is the recent folder. Okay, fuck's sake. I thought it was my downloads folder because I saw Musializer there. FreeBSD. Alright. Non-detected. Alright, so BSD. FreeBSD. Okay, so it knows about other BSDs, but not this BSD. Alright, so if I tell you that this is NetBSD, how are you gonna feel about that? May not have search permissions for the path. Do you want to correct this? Why would it not have permissions? Yeah, let's give you storage. The hell. Alright. It's not NetBSD, it's FreeBSD. Virtual network default is not active. I was wondering actually, because when I run my own system, it doesn't have networking by default. And I mean, with that icon, it looks like evil Linux. Doesn't have networking by default, and it turns out that they have their own virtual network for getting around that, I guess. Welcome to FreeBSD. Would you like to begin an installation or use the live system? It's not gonna look like this the whole time, is it? Log in. What am I logging in as? What do you mean I'm logging in? This is a live system. It's supposed to be like a... What? Admin? What's the... What? Root with no password. Okay, so this actually does not come with a UI, does it? Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. They have a directory structure. Like this. Did I just download the non-UI version without realizing it? Like, what is going on? Please tell me there is a UI for this shit. With like a normal installer. Right? There's gotta be. Right? We're not living in the dark ages. As in literally in the dark because we have nothing to look at. BSD fans will look you in the eyes and tell you it's a better than any other OS. Oh shit. Linux is starting to come back to life, kind of. It does support desktop environments. That is absurd. Because the funny thing is, it's essentially going to look exactly like Linux when you have... Oh my god. Essentially, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's my issue with Linux, right? Here's Linux. We have the Linux kernel. Then we have, you know, your desktop. Desktop environment. You have your window managers. Manager. You have your package repositories. Here you're going to have actually multiple ones. Well, you can have multiples of everything, really. What else do you have? You have your display managers. Right. Here's the thing, though. While I don't necessarily love the Unix way of doing things, I definitely find it convenient, or well, I think it has room for improvement, and most importantly, room for leaving some stuff behind. I think it is good. It's a good idea in most cases. Some things that aren't, whatever. But I very much have taken inspiration from Unix and Linux when it comes to the kernel of design of my own operating system. So I would say overall the kernel of Linux is okay. The issue that I have with Linux comes from literally everything else around it. The problem when you give me an operating system like BSD that uses the same exact janky ass software that I hate is that you offer me a grand total of 0 improvements. That is the issue. That is the real problem. I don't care how good your kernel is because I am the user of an operating system. I couldn't give less of a shit what your kernel looks like. Or if it's actually like Unix's grandson. I care about how easy is it for me to install shit onto this operating system. On Linux, it's not easy. On BSD, remains to be seen. But like, how reliable is, the interface? On Linux, half the shit I'm running is actually running in X11 emulation mode, but X11 itself does not work well, so I'm stuck with this like shitty version of everything. What do we do here, buddy? What do we do? Come on. Oh, Lord. Well, I kind of already knew this, but this kind of confirms it. It, so far, is feeling more like a more pedantic Linux. Because at the very least, Linux distributors know that you want a, user interface. Even if Linux itself doesn't have it, and that is a problem, at least it comes with it. And then the user community is always like, well, but you should be using this one, not that one. Well, the problem is that you're using... The infighting of the Linux community is legendary. These people are just like, we're just not going to participate in that. Just do whatever you want. BSD is like Arch Linux on steroid, good and bad. What's good about it? I mean, let's check out the... First off, is this a thing in Linux? I don't think it is a thing in Linux, right? But I've never tried. Oh, it is! Very nice. I did not know that. Although I have to say, PSDs makes more sense. Just in the sense that it's actually hierarchical. But I did not know that Linux had that. So far, it really just feels like a more pedantic Linux. But again, I don't know about the community. So, to be fair, there's nobody in the chat actually defending this shit. So, that either speaks volumes as to the amount of people watching, the amount of people that use BSD, and the amount of people that defend this. I feel like a mix of the three. There's no perfect OS, but closest to perfection is Mac OS. You know why? Because Mac OS is just like, has a decent desktop environment, has a decent display manager, a decent window manager, decent way of installing shit. Again, this is my code for generating a Mac package. To be fair, I wrote this in like 5 minutes. I haven't finished it. But there it is. I didn't even put the executable in here. But this is what that looks like. Without the concatenate, actually, so just... Doop. This should be enough to give us an application that runs on Mac. This directory structure, which is in Lisp code, but yeah, you can see the literal structure here, so that's nice. I use FreeBSD. What's that like? The community is like 10x worse than the Arch community. They got GNOME. Yeah, I kind of figured. What's the Ubuntu of the BSD community? That's the question I have. Interesting. I did not know about this higher command here. Hierarchy. Um, I'm currently in /root. That's very interesting. All right. Can I create a user? What's the command for that? Because I'm in user. I'm not in user. I'm in root right now. Is it add user? Yeah. This says user add. Oh my god, just choose already. Creating my system user. Alright. Dun, 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 dun. Well, you know what? Actually, we can do man add user. Although I have to say, one thing that I really want to add to my operating system, and one thing that I really wish these OSs had, is I want to do something. There's a lot of different ways that you could call this. Add user, create user. Maybe you do that through a system command, whatever. So I would like to have a way to search for a command that does this, you know? Is there a way to do that, actually? Like, again, if I didn't know the name of the command that I'm looking for, but I know what I want it to do, is there a way for me to search? I would love for that to be a thing. Alright, add user, and then I'm assuming we have to give it a name, although I'm not seeing that in the arguments. It's a shell script implemented around the pw command for adding new users. See, I wouldn't have known pw. I just want to create a user that isn't root to see what that looks like. I think it... Okay, does it actually... Oh, okay, it gives me a form to fill out. Okay, so the name of my user is going to be my name, full name, also that. UID, empty for default. Login group, that's fine. Login group is the invite D into other groups. No thanks, I never get invited anywhere. Login class default, not sure what that means, but sure. Shell, I can choose which shell to use. Sh is fine. Home directory, home D. Okay, I was wondering about that. Can I tell you to put it here? Home directory permissions, leave empty for default. Use password-based authentication, no. Lock out the account after creation. Lock out? No? But yes, this is fine. Add user error. There was an error. Adding user D. Add another user? Yes. Okay, so I think... Is it because of the home folder thing that I did? Did you not like that? Okay, UID, that's good, that's good. What's the UID that I was gonna... Oh, same UID, okay. Invite me into other groups, no. Login class, Home directory, I see. It defaults to //d. So is it because I actually wrote /d that you didn't like that? So maybe if I just do this. Okay, password-based authentication. No, it remembers my defaults. I like that. But I do want to know, can I put my home folder in the root? Again, the fact that it shows the double slash there feels like an oversight. So let's try. No, that also fails. Okay, so yes, I do like that it remembers my defaults. Alright, so let's do just a regular name. Yep. Home directory. See, you're just adding shit to it. It seems like there's no way for me to specify putting my home directory in the root. I guess that's just not allowed. /home/d. Everything else should be default. There was an error adding the I am on the install media. To be fair. Can I reboot? Is that a thing? Sudo reboot? There's no sudo. Can I just reboot? Seems like I can. Doesn't look like it. You know, no, I know what I want. Do you want wallet? No? No bootable device. Okay, that's good. I'm pretty sure actually that vert here, like, deletes your installer the first. So let me just literally just delete it and start over. Like, the first time you run it, why do you keep asking for my shit? Who is asking for this? Who's trying to create a wallet? What in the crypto scam is going on? Yeah, the virtual machine runner here, like the first time you run it, it actually uses the ISO you pass it. The second time it removes it because it assumes that you installed it. So I need to keep that in mind. Again, I do need to tell you what kind of operating system this is, even though I still don't know what you do with that, but I'm going to tell you it's this, forward. Alright, we're going to use 8000 and we're going to use 4 CPUs. We're going to go forward. I'm giving it 8 RAM for a, well, whatever. I'm not giving you this much though. 20, I'm giving it more now. So I forgot to delete a number. Alright, free basud and finish. Evil Linux over here. Boot installer, boot single user, escape to loader prompt, reboot, const video. Wait, you're doing something by default. I didn't even have enough time to read. Alright, whatever. Okay. Yeah, default key map. I don't think I want the Armenian. Choose a host name for this machine. Would you like to install the base system using traditional distribution sets or package technology preview? Well, let's see the preview. No base system packages are included in this installation media. The next few screens will allow you to configure networking. Okay. Go ahead. My router is not that slow. Okay. It doesn't even have my IP, it has a local IP. Guided root on ZFS, yeah, that's fine. Alright, proceed with installation. No redundancy. Yeah, go with that. Not enough disks selected. Sorry for not doing that on purpose. I mean, are you sure you want to destroy the current contents of the following disk? Yes. Last chance. Oh no, okay. I thought it was giving me the same thing. Okay. Minimal set of packages. That's fine by me. Why is it in red? Because I would destroy. You don't want to destroy. That's why. Alright, that's gonna take a bit. How's everyone doing? How are you doing? Why are you no longer on camera anymore? I need you for engagement, my dude. What's up? Alright. How are we doing? 250 out of 320. Doing okay. Also, good. Alright. I do find it so weird that you don't even give me the option to get a UI. Like, why are we doing this to ourselves in the good year of our Lord 2026? A password for the system management account. I'm not telling you. America, North and South. Nice, nice, nice. Europe. I have to scroll. My God. Why do I live in Spain instead of Albania? Also, why are the numbers red and blue now? Wait, that can be kind of nice, I guess. Spain. Spain mainland. Does the abbreviation CEST look reasonable? What if I say no to that? Oh, it's not about the abbreviation itself, it's just about... Is this the one that you think you use? Does that sound familiar to you? Okay, so you got the correct date, I think. We can skip. Time is correct. We can skip. None of any of this matters. Synchronized system and network time. I don't care too much about that. Sync time. We're good. Hide processes running as other users. Hide processes running at other groups. Hide processes running in jails. We got jails. Disable reading kernel message buffer for unprivileged. I can't really find a way to read that. But, okay. There's like a hair is in my face. That's so annoying. This is nice, actually. Giving me, like, these default hardening options. So maybe they do have a better kernel. Who knows? Jails are FreeBSD versions of containers. Yeah, I saw that in their website. It's just such an interesting naming convention. Provides isolation for services and applications. Each jail can run with its own file system, networking, and configuration. That's only reasonable. And I bet they don't even have a holy war going on about which one is better. Randomize the P. Not that I care about any of this, I just want to see what they are. I mean, I could care, but not for a virtual machine that I'm just checking out. Randomize the PID of newly created processes. Clean the TMP file system on system startup. Disable opening syslog-d network socket. No idea what that actually implies because it's hidden. And I don't know how to look at it. I tried the arrow keys. They don't do anything. I tried page up and page down. Maybe home and end. Also just don't do anything. WASD. No? Alright. Enable console password prompt. For the console? I'm gonna try that. Disallow dtrace destructive mode. Okay, that seems like enough. No firmware to install. Continuing. Okay. Would you like to add users to the install system now? Yes. Alright, so here we go. Let's try this again. Full name, UID, empty for default. Also, because it remembers your defaults, the first time it told me leave empty for defaults. The second time I had a default already. Login group. Invite to other groups, no. Class default, shell this. No, let's try this. Yep. Yes. Yes. No, I still don't know what the lockout the account means. Does it mean that I would need to authenticate with an actual password at this point? You could have called them solitary confinements. It's a bit much. But yeah, sure. Okay. Yes. Successfully added. Okay, so the problem was literally that I was in the installation media at that point. Add another user? No. Alright, apply configuration and exit the installer, add another user, change the root password, set the system hostname, networking configuration, set daemons to run on the startup, set security options, time zone, install firmware, and the BSD handbook. No, we're good. Would you like to open a shell in the new system to make any final manual modifications? No. And now we're going to need to reboot. Call them castles in my future OS. I like that, actually. That's a nice name. I'm just calling them isolated system. Is there some kind of like syncing user account passwords with my main host system that this has? Because why do you keep asking for wallet service? And why do I not have an option to tell it fuck off completely? Why is that not a thing? I have to say, boot is taking a significant amount of time. Significant amount of time. Alright, log in as this with no password. Welcome to FreeBSD. I wasn't even sure where to start reading. Handbook, FAQ, lists questions. Documents installed within the system are located here. That's nice that they give you this. They don't assume that you already know everything. Again, I just wish they would do their own thing instead of relying on Linux jank software for desktop environments and whatnot. Over quota, do sort H will give you a sorted list of your directory sizes. To change this login announcement, see mod D. File containing messages of the day. I do like an operating system with a little bit of quirk, a little bit of zaniness to it. That's very nice. All right. All right. So right now I'm in my home folder, which is actually located in the root. So let's see what the root looks like. We got okay. We got that. Right. No, actually, let's see what my home folder looks like. LSA. There is one thing that I really like about POSIX systems, and is the fact that once you learn one, you learn all. Kind of. There's a few things that change. Mostly it's just like, this is available by default on Mac, it's not on Linux. This is available by default on Ubuntu, not on Debian. But that's just preference, honestly. Alright, we have a profile. Okay, so does it use, for example, do I have Nano? No. Do I have Vi? Yes. Actually, I saw that we have Vi. So I want a Vi profile with a period. Okay, so it uses path, as expected. Sbin, bin, user, sbin, user, bin. Editor Vi, you can change which one you use. Pager less, you can change which one you use there too. You got env. Let sh1 know it's at home despite home being a symlink. Wait. What? Home is a symlink. Display a random cookie on each login. That would be user bin fortune. Okay, so that's definitely gonna be the program that we try next. No fortunes found. In user share games fortune and user local share games fortune. No, that was supposed to be user bin fortune. Oh, okay. So it's actually the program telling me that. I don't know why I thought it was something else. Alright, so that obviously does beg the question of what's going on inside user share games. Fortune. Permission denied. How do I know what it is? What type of file it is? I'll never understand why ls doesn't tell you this. Like on Linux, when it has colors, you can kind of tell, but here it doesn't really do that, so... Oh, you can customize it to do that sometimes, but not always. Is it a folder? It's a folder with FreeBSD tips and FreeBSD tips.dat. So why would you say that you couldn't find anything? It does have autocomplete, which is nice. This is not a directory. Okay, so can I cat it? It has all this stuff inside of it. The mouse does not work at all. How do you scroll in a terminal, by the way? Wait. You know, I added scrolling to my operating system terminal, and I'm just asking myself that question. Can you scroll in a keyboard-only terminal? I've never actually asked myself this question. Like, there's gotta be a way, because there used to be a time when there was only terminals. Use Control-Shift-Up. Of course. By the way, y'all do know that you have page up and page down sitting there doing nothing? Shift page up doesn't work. Does that work on Linux though? Okay, on Linux, yes. Page up and page down just gives you history for some reason. I don't understand why. Because, like... I hope this works. I haven't super tested the terminal. See? No, did I say cat? No, it's read. That's the problem. I thought that was just a reasonable way of doing it. With page up and page down. Also, my keyboard is turning red. That's interesting. When I start pressing the same key very, very fast, the keys around it turn red. That's an interesting behavior. Anyway. Shift page up, page down. Shift no. Okay, so FreeBSD scroll in terminal with the keyboard. Shift page up, page down are Linux key combinations. Scroll lock and then arrow and page keys. What the fuck is a scroll lock, brother? Is there a key called scroll lock? On some new Dell XPS, which doesn't have a separate scroll lock key, you can press Function and S to achieve the same effect. Function and S. No. What the fuck is a scroll lock, bro? It's a mostly obsolete key. Next to print screen, my keyboard has a fucking microphone cursor for some reason, like microphone icon there. And all it did is just insert a space. What about these Squid Game looking thingies? No. Also, my keyboard has like a circle, triangle, square, and X buttons, which I realize are probably supposed to be used as like controller emulation buttons or something, but I just went for Squid Game for some fucking reason. Yeah, I don't know how to scroll in this damn thing. This is a keyboard only operating system. There's got to be a way to scroll in the default console, right? Maybe I should, without the shift, no, scroll lock key. You could use a terminal multiplexer like Tmux. Discord just went down? Interesting. Shift page up, page down does not work. Load the appropriate driver for your GPU and start an X session. This community. This community. You should be using Tmux instead. How about you start XLM? How about you make a fucking terminal that works? If you're gonna force us to use the terminal by default, how about you make one that works? Christ. Yeah, why did I think that a more niche Linux alternative was gonna have a better community? What is wrong with me? Like, why would I think that? Like, genuinely, when I put it in those terms, what the fuck was I thinking? Let's try Control Shift up.
Ready your channel with 3 viewers.
Shelvins, why do I want to say that in a French accent? Chervinsky, thank you for the raid. Welcome. We're crashing out at BSD over here today. Not a whole lot of software or game development going on, but maybe there should have been a little bit more on their end. Anyway, welcome everybody. Usually I do operating system development in a way that isn't as like this. Like this.
Showdown to Chervinsky.
Alright, there we go. I don't know how to scroll in this damn terminal. When am I returning to macOS? Here's the thing. I have my personal laptop, which I'm not using for streaming. And I have my server, which is an old Mac. It really works better as a server than it does as a streaming computer. Because it did struggle a little bit. It's a 2020 Mac M1. First one. Mac Mini M1. Like, cheapest thing that I could get with an M1 back then. The second I heard that they were switching over to... What is it called? To ARM, I was like, yep. So yeah, for streaming, not going to be on Mac. Also, this is my gaming computer. But yeah. I would love to switch to Mac, believe me. I'm more likely to switch to my own OS than I am to switch to Mac. But I am definitely a million times more likely to switch to my own OS than I am to stay on Linux and to try BSD. Oh god, no. Anyway, I don't know how to scroll on this thing. Consoles? No. Wait, did I end up trying? Hold on, let me try switching my keyboard type, because it also has that. This is fucking fancy keyboards. Alright, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. The key that was supposed to be the scroll lock just added a C. Why a C? This one did something, but it's not what I wanted to do. And, no. My keyboard only has numlock and caps lock. That's it. Moving on. I don't know how to scroll in this console. All right, so that does beg the question: can I less it? Excuse you? The last command I ran was this one. It's now not found. Oh, that is not the last command I ran. The last command I ran is actually cat FreeBSD tips. Right, so it wasn't a command, so I can just less instead of cat. But what? I don't know what a scroll lock is. Honestly, that's the problem. I don't have a scroll lock. I tried all the keys that I thought could be a scroll lock. None of them are. In 2 different keyboard modes, mind you. We're kind of doomed when it comes to current operating systems. Yep. Yeah, mostly because mine's not ready yet. Also yesterday I saw on stream that the Steam machine was finally up for not even pre-order, just like a lottery system to be able to pre-order it. It is not cheaper than 1,000 for the cheapest little piece of shit 512 gigabyte machine. Who would want that? It doesn't have anything special about it. Only the operating system, which if you really care, you can install yourself. Also, that is the closest we probably can get to Linux being usable. Alright, so I checked out the game. It's a very fun game where it tells you a tip of the day. Boy, do I love that one. I'm uninstalling Steam, actually. This is all I need. What Grandpa used to do in his free time. I would play that game for hours and hours. They loved it. That was the thing that Linuxoid said will save Linux desktop. Unfortunate, because I would have wanted it to succeed. But I actually found out that you can very much use the Steam frame without the Steam... what is it called? The GameCube? So, I have no reason to get a GameCube. Alright, not a whole lot for me to check out. Again, any desktop environment would just be the same desktop environments that I have on this machine. Literally, I have all of them. Display managers, same exact thing. Yeah, not all of them. There's probably some niche stuff that I don't have, but I have the big 3 on this machine. And besides that, again, we have a keyboard-only operating system that does not seem to work much better than the other one. I meant to CD into proc. Nothing. Is it because processes are isolated? Can I? Sorry. Can I sudo? Command not found, right? Do I have to su root? I actually don't know how to do that. Bad su d2 root. That is a genuinely hard to read sentence. By the way, look at how my mouse cursor disappears when it goes over the VM. Like, no mouse allowed here. And it comes out the other end. I'm bored. I don't know what else to look at in this damn thing. Is the title rage bait? Yeah, the title started out as like a funny little joke. Now it's just this shit cannot possibly. I feel really stupid for thinking that this could possibly try to be better than Linux. How could that possibly have been the case? Again, maybe if they had better packaging of the operating system as a whole, you know, but they don't. I kind of thought it did. That's the thing. I only found out somewhat recently that they also use, by somewhat recently, I think I mean yesterday, that they use the same desktop environments and whatnot that Linux uses. So I really thought it was going to be a more cohesive experience. I'm not saying that it sucks because I don't know how to use it. It's just that it doesn't really provide me anything that I find useful. Like what benefit do I have for using this over a Linux distro? What the hell? The string of my pants got stuck to this thing. Which, by the way, is still untangled from yesterday, so that's nice. Well, it's mostly untangled from yesterday, still that part. You can't really link on Linux because it bitches about LGPL licenses issues? Link to what? I have no idea, but that is kind of stupid. There's literally no other way to do anything in my OS besides static linking. I think that's just perfect. That's just how it should be. I definitely don't think that Linux is currently the best, with the sole exception of Temple OS. There is Mac. I think we can all agree on the worst one. I think we can all agree on the worst one. I don't think there's any competition for which one the worst one is. The best one is obviously a very subjective thing. Normally the worst one should also be a subjective thing, but come on, there's a very clear winner on that. But Linux is also, like, again, it suffers from... I'm just gonna keep calling it head up your own ass disease. Which very clearly so does BSD. So... Again, there is a BSD-based operating system with great defaults, great packaging, and great care for what the user experience is. The problem is the cheapest way to get it is what, $500? glibc will vomit DL open errors. That sucks. I've never tried statically linking. I consider doing that. You telling me that kind of tells me not to do it. Reason one not to use it is not GPL? What? Don't really include BSD as a desktop system? Well, clearly. This just really feels unfinished. I don't know how to put it. It feels like there is some shit missing here. Like, again, I can't scroll in the fucking terminal in any way that I found humanly possible. I've been trying for a bit. I've tried all the keyboard combinations that everyone said, and I couldn't really find a way to do it. Besides that, what we have is just another Unix-like system. But again, we know how much easier it is to install even Linux. And that is more so a, community thing. Having a way bigger community, it's a lot easier to install a user-friendly distro, even though that user-friendly is a very... It's more of a user acquaintance distro, at best. But it is, at least. I don't think that BSD is big enough to have that. It's more of a server OS. Yeah, I kind of figured. But then again, what's the point of me using BSD for a server when I can also use Linux? This is more of a use case thing, but genuinely, you don't need to have a use case to make open source software. You're not a company that requires profit to stay afloat. So genuinely, just fucking go for it. Nobody cares. Just my criticism of it should not be considered. I don't think this should exist because sure, what the hell? Nobody cares. I'm making an operating system for fun. I definitely don't have that idea, but as an end user, I do ask myself that question, which I think is a very fair question to ask. Just the answer is just don't use this damn thing. That's it. Hello, SH. Doing good. How are you? All right. Bro, what the hell are you doing? Jester? Jester? Could you not stab your ear like that? What the fuck was that? That was aggressive as fuck. Out there. Alright. Again, more so the issue isn't even about the operating system itself. It's just like, what do I do with it when literally all the same that I can do is the same that I can do on Linux? It's more from a, I was supposed to be exploring this thing today, and there's not a whole lot to explore. No, I'm just trying the BSD for fun. I can't really move away from Linux just because I have some way of installing NVIDIA drivers, and I do play a lot of games. So that alone is kind of a non-starter for anything that isn't Linux. Besides one exception that has a lot of other issues why I don't want it. Okay, well, maybe I want to check out something else that isn't BSD. I do have a question though. I don't have sudo. Alright, so what are we left with? The entire thing is still there. And I can't scroll to see it. I think it did delete some stuff. It didn't even delete my home folder. So there's nothing in it anymore. Alright, what about bin? Did you delete my... Well, no, you did not delete my programs, because I'm still using ls, cd, all of those still work. So I literally think that did nothing. Besides delete my home folder, which, yeah. I never know how to do this properly. Only members of the wheel group are allowed to sue into root. Log in as root on the console and fix your sudoers file there. So to get to sue, you need to root, you need to be in root. Void Linux tab. No, I actually don't know what it is. Just somebody was mentioning it yesterday. Where is the void Linux? Oh, this one. You recognize it by that alone. Login as root. I have to log in as root? Wait, is it literally? Yeah. Okay, we're root now. Alright, so let's try that again. Actually, no, hold on. Alright, so literally all I did was... Wait, did I uninstall? Wait, actually I should try installing sudo. Because I want to know what it's like to install stuff on this thing. That's one thing I didn't try. FreeBSD install sudo. Difficulty intermediate. Okay, PKG. That's not intermediate at all. pkg update, pkg upgrade, and pkg install sudo. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna need to run those. I think I'm good with pkg install sudo. The fact that they call it pkg, is it the same for all distros? Because that alone will make it better than Linux. Alright. I'm already root, so... Okay, I did delete my entire home folder, but I think that's literally all I deleted. Okay. Before I leave, though... No, this. Is it? Oh, wait, hold on. Man, hire. Can I check something in here like this? No. I can't find it. See, here I can scroll because we're in a program, but in the terminal itself you can't. And that feels like a really big oversight. Or maybe you can, but I genuinely did not find a way. OpenBSD uses pkg-add and NetBSD has pkgen. Thank you. I was trying to do the full investigation of what exactly are the programs found inside of user sbin. Also, what do you define USR as? Because it technically means use... Okay. On Linux, it's kind of been changed to mean Unix system resources, but here it still has the Unix meaning of user utilities and applications. Alright, so bin is common utilities. FreeBSD dist are distribution files. Include, our standard C includes. Lib, we have clang, not GCC, we have clang. The clanger. And local and subin, system daemons and utilities meant for user execution. The fact that it calls them system... Yeah, but those are FreeBSD systems, not just BSD systems. Didn't think of small factor keyboards? I don't think that's the problem. Is it 100%? I think it is, actually. So I'm a little bit surprised. No, I literally got a keyboard as 100% just in case. I don't think that's the problem. Alright, I do want to try this now. cd into the root directory, and we're going to sudo rm rf everything. The user is not in sudoers. I forgot about that. Okay, we're going to log in as root. Device busy, operation not permitted, operation not permitted. Did you do anything? I did. It did. Okay. ls not found. It's interesting that it says directory not or it said, because that's gone. It said directory not empty over here. I can't really point because the mouse disappears the second I go into it, but like to the right of the mouse. Because RMRF should actually take care of that, right? Mine is above my arrow keys at the top. Yeah, I tried, but that doesn't really work. That is actually a key that changes how the keyboard itself works. It might genuinely not be wired into anything. It might just be kept by the keyboard. Maybe the keyboard has replaced it with this, and it doesn't even get to the system. Because it literally just changes like how my keyboard lights up. Wait, I like this. Hold on, I want to get back to that setting that I had. There's a lot of different lighting types here. Okay, now it's rotating lights, rotating RGB lights, rotating random color lights, randomly on and off. Now it's completely off. Now it's... Okay, that's the one I wanted. Alright, is there any built-ins then? Echo should be built-in, right? Echo is built-in. Now I remember reading an article a while ago from Unix, from when someone accidentally deleted the bin folder. It was like a write-up by someone, but I wouldn't know who it was. Hi Kai, how you doing? I just ran, not on purpose, rmrf/bin. How do you accidentally do that? Whoopsie! I accidentally deleted the bin. I swear I slipped and my hands just fell on the rmrf command. I would love to find that article, but I don't remember who wrote it or even the context in which they wrote it. So let's try. Maybe it was Bell Labs. Google would like to access my location. No, I don't know. Does anyone know which article I'm talking about? Do we know anything about that? 'Cause I would love to find it. But anyway, that's how I found out, for example, that echo is actually a built-in command. Which low-key helped them actually recover their system. And this is something that happened back when, you know, we're talking about thousands of dollars worth of computer hardware for like room-sized computers running Unix, probably licensed. There is something from a really long time ago, and that's how I found out that Echo is actually built in, so it still works even though I RMRF'd my entire system. And I would love to know what is left. We can see here the things that failed, but we don't really know what is left because LS is not left. LSD is definitely not. Yeah, just gotta look at my... But honestly, I don't do a whole lot of like... Well, I don't do a whole lot, no. I just don't do project reviews, to be honest. I'm also not very... in part because that's just not something I do, but in part also because I'm just really bad with other people's code. It's not something I enjoy doing or I'm good at. So it's not like I'm particularly good at giving insight on that. It's a solid choice when you're doing system development. You don't want to open source your proprietary work. Do you have to open source your proprietary work? Like, I don't think it has anything to do with licensing, does it? Or is it like a distribution thing that you mean? Because I did see at the beginning that it starts Sony PlayStation. That the PlayStation is actually based off BSD 11, I believe, a free BSD 11. macOS itself is built off of FreeBSD. Or OpenBSD? No, it was FreeBSD. Although that's a super old fork. Is Linux GPL? It is GPL. It is GPL. That's literally my system is GPL. So yeah, you can't extend it without GPL. Okay, that is actually a reasonable thing. That is very interesting. All right. Again, I'm thinking again more of it from a user standpoint. From not even from a user standpoint, I'm asking for myself personally. What would be the point of me using this? And again, don't take it as criticism towards BSD, because it really shouldn't be taken as that. Even if I may mean it like that, I may just literally be wrong sometimes. The thing is, for me personally, again, it's already a non-starter, nothing like that, to move away from Linux, because I'm not going back to Windows, and I need NVIDIA drivers to be able to play games. Although I am playing more and more with a controller, so maybe I'll switch to console, but PlayStation actually, so BSD. Well, if you forget that part. Yeah, from me using it, that's the thing. What explains why BSD is less developed? Oh, it's not GPL, that explains why it's less developed than Linux. Okay, I see that. I mean, I made my own OS. Wait, it officially supports BSD? I actually did not know that. That's interesting. That is one of the reasons. The other one, to be fair, is this. I drew it. The issues that I have with Linux have nothing to do with this. And while I may have some issues, this is doubled for some reason. But I don't really have an issue with this on Linux. Do I think that maybe we could move away from some ridiculous Unix stuff? Sure. But do I think that it's incredibly convenient and nice that I'm able to pick up any Unix-like system? Yes. Do I wish that they would extend the standard to also include more interesting stuff and just like standardize the system a little bit better or modernize it a little bit? Sure. But I do see the point of it. So my problem with Linux is not the kernel, it's this, and this. Which I see BSD has the same exact issue for those. So from a user standpoint, I don't see the point of me using it. Although I did not know that I had NVIDIA support. If I ever start having issues with the Linux kernel, then sure. And if I didn't have my own operating system and I wanted to build something proprietary, then definitely BSD. I see the point of why you would want to do that, of course. Then again, I built an OS from scratch because of the issues that I have with Unix kernels. And because I like the GPL license for an operating system. But of course, I see the point of somebody wanting to have a non-GPL version of it. Yeah, I see the point of that. But yeah, like, what am I left with if as an end user who maybe wants an alternative to Linux, if the same things that I find, if the difference between BSD and Linux is literally just the kernel, which is standardized to be the same from my perspective. That is more so the reason that I say I don't see the point of BSD for me. Again, I do see the point of other things. And most importantly, I don't see the point of me sitting here and checking it out a whole lot. Number one, because I nuked it. Oh. Can I even shut it down? Interesting. Login still exists, but libutil.so.10 no longer exists. And it's needed by login. So login seems like a built-in, but it relies on a .so, by the way, same extension as Linux, which means this is useless essentially. If you RMRF your entire system. Power off. Hold on. Now I kind of want to see. Does which work? Which does not work. Is there any alternate way that I can? Again, I would love to read that article because they actually recovered from deleting their bin folder. Although I do think they probably just copied files. But like, how do you copy files without... I hate the name of that command. Copy. Without copy. Why is it called that? How do you copy files without the copy command? So I would love to find that article. Again, if somebody knows what that article was, it was somebody talking about an experience that they had at a computer lab in which they deleted the bin folder and maybe even other folders like RMRF, like I just did, on Unix. But I don't remember who wrote it. I don't remember where they worked or where this happened. So I'm not sure how to look up for this article. I guess I... Man, you're hard to get... You're hard to get a hold of. The one time I actually won the AI overview. None of this is what I'm looking for. Yo. Chester. Don't hit me with your tail. If they start dual licensing stuff with Rust in the Linux kernel, they could eventually move away from GPL? Hold up. Is that a thing they need to do? Or is that just something you're saying as a hypothetical? I mean, I might as well ask the clanker at this point. I think this is the kind of thing that they are useful for. If only they weren't horrible at literally everything else and being forced down our throats, I might even like them for this. I said the video protocol using Vertio, the video primitives of my kernel are basically... Yeah, Vertio is actually nice to use, I have to say. Besides the issue that I do mention about, like, some devices specified above are unspecified by this document. This is the specification for these devices, which are virtual devices that exist literally nowhere except for the specification. So it's like, we thought of a device, but we're not going to tell you about it. University of Manchester. Even once I know what it is, from asking the clanker, I cannot get an answer from Google. My god, this fucking thing is useless. You're linking me to... Lori Wired's last name is Kirk, and I'm just finding out about this now? What do you mean her last name is Kirk? Anyway. A new programmer accidentally ran RMRF. How do you accidentally run it? Okay, so he didn't delete everything. He stopped it halfway, but bin, etc, dev, and lib were gone. A single Emacs session was still open with a root shell. That is actually super convenient. Many students' PhD thesis was on the box. Oof. Damn. Every basic tool was already wiped. The last tape backup was a week ago. Okay, so I didn't stop it halfway through. But to be fair, I did get a bunch of errors when running it. Whereas back then, I don't think they actually considered that anyone would be so... would do such a tiny little oopsie daisy and RMRF the entire root folder. So I wonder, they probably didn't have any protections against it, because they probably thought, nobody's gonna fucking do this. Bad RNG on the last name. Yes, we really are, Charlie Kirk. After a little thinking, they hand-typed a stripped binary in raw hex and ran it. Wait, hold on. I skipped a part. Sorry for the spoiler. NVIDIA had an oopsie like that? What do you mean? Assuming you could copy or recover any tools, they needed a place to put them. How do you rename TMP to ETC without MV? Don't forget, you can't even compile code. Remember the Emacs session? Time to break out some raw assembly. After a little thinking, they hand-typed a stripped binary in raw hex and ran it. The long shot worked, a writable ETC. From that point, they created passwd hosts and eventually FTP. We are Laurie Kirk. God damn it. I was gonna say how cool it is that they wrote those programs entirely in raw hex. Although, no, they couldn't really have copied them off of another computer. It's not like you can just come in with a laptop and do it. I mean, you could, but probably the easiest way to do it is to find another computer, hoping that you have one in the university, you have another computer lab with another computer, and then you can, like, print the hexes and manually write them in. Besides that, you have to do it manually. The long shot worked. A writable ETC, they did password hosts and eventually FTP. God damn. Recovering bin from another host, the system was back online and no one was the wiser. They didn't tell anyone? Damn, that is actually... Okay, so obviously not gonna be able to do that. But I'm glad I found the article, even though I had to resort to the dark side for that one. And found out that Laurie is apparently Laurie Kirk. I did not know that. It was a quiet Wednesday after... Okay, we're not doing this whole thing. They're giving a 1515 BST, to be precise. See, that's very, very specific. Mario, I'm having a little trouble sending mail. I moved over and the error was cannot access foo bar for user ID 147 had been issued by MSG. Who's user ID 147? Grep? Passwd no such file or directory. I guess something was amiss. Hold on. Some trickery is afoot. LS not found. Damn, it's like we're reliving history. I suggested to Peter that it would be a good idea not to try anything for a while. Oh no, and why not to find the system editor? Okay, so they did look for someone. It's not like they just did this manually and then we're like, oh, well, no, nobody has to know about this. Okay, it'll be a little secret. Shake on it. James, our manager, was sat down, head in hands, hands between knees, and as one whose world has just come to an end, our newly appointed system programmer, Neil, was beside him, gazing listlessly at the screen on his terminal. And at the top of the screen, I spied the following lines. CD, RF. Which, by the way, CD now goes to the home folder, but apparently here it went to the slash folder. I do remember trying ls again, ps, who, for maybe a few other commands besides, all to no avail. The next thing I remember was being at my terminal again, multi-window graphics terminal, and typing this. Oh, look at that! CD actually works. But see, my home folder is gone. Alright, so I'm able to do this. CD is a built-in. And then you can do this. I did not know you could do that! Well, I'm glad I'm reading this article. I did not know that echo and that would actually give you all the contents of the folder. Damn. So we're actually super able to navigate the entire system if we try. By the way, I love that you're still able to technically break that, because I don't think we have mkdir. No. Like, have they done something so that you can recover from this easier? Feel like no. Surprisingly, home was not deleted. I do wonder if I had put my home folder in a normal location, would it have been kept inside of home? Because home actually still exists. But there's nothing inside of it. It goes to the home folder for non-root users and to slash for root users. I see. Oh, right, because he did it as root. But mine doesn't anymore. See how it tries to go to slash root? Except that doesn't exist anymore. I owe a debt of thanks to David Korn for making Echo a built-in of his shell. Yep. bin echo had been deleted. Dev, etc, and lib had also gone in there entirely. News, TMP, and USR and users were all untouched. If you had wiped users, there's really nothing worth doing there, even. Interestingly enough, though, we do have lib with some libraries inside of it, including libc, libcrypt, librt, libsys, and libthr. You have vi and pkg working. You can quickly write your own core utils and recover. That's what I was wondering. Could I do this? Do I want to do it? No. Vi does not work. At least not like that. I already saw that nano doesn't exist. Does it have a compiler? That is a good question. We have /dev, but I don't think there's something I can do with that. We do have sbin. That wasn't deleted. TMP, USR. What is this then? Already running. Okay, it's the init. Oh. It's an init process. Alright, let's see what's in USR, for example. Bin. There's a bin in here. chpass, crontab, login, passwd, and su. Crontab? Why would crontab be... Well, it's just because it just so happens to be in this folder. It's not really because it's not deletable. Cat. I actually haven't tried cat. Cat does not work, no. By the way, I love that my... I was like, this is this is terminal only? Alright, let's nuke the system and see what happens. I tried user bin, and there's also lib32 ports and src. Src is interesting. No such file order. Oh no, it's not like that. It's like this. Nothing inside of it though. Alright, what's zroot? Zroot. Nothing. Anymore. How about var? I don't think I can find anything useful in there. Audit, crash, empty, log, mail, and temp. Oh, ed. No. I mean, I've already checked the entire directory structure, and yeah, clearly there's not. Can you do something like this? Probably not, yeah, no. So yeah, in their case, they managed to save users. So that really helped them. James had made for our tape cupboard and had retrieved what claimed to be a dump tape of the root file system taken 4 weeks earlier. How do we recover the contents of the tape? Okay, so that explains that. Not only have we lost etc restore, but all the devices entries for the tape deck had vanished. And where does mknod live? In etc. How about recovery across Ethernet of any of this from another VAX? Well, bin tar had gone. Thoughtfully, the Berkeley people had put RCP in bin in the 4.3 distribution. None of the Ether stuff wanted to know without etc hosts. CPIO in user local, but that was unlikely to do anything good without a tape deck. I don't think I even have a user local anymore. Echo file. That might actually work. Let's see. Alright, moment of truth. There it is, file. You can make files but not folders. It's like Lisp. It's like Lisp. I know this one. It's not like I can do a whole lot with it, but yeah. Most importantly, I don't have a compiler, I think. I don't think there's any way we have a compiler in here. No, these are just libraries, right? var doesn't contain anything. USR doesn't. Did we check USR fully? Right. bin lib32 ports and src. I do wonder how recoverable can we make this system without hand coding hex programs. You can echo the whole bytecode to a file. Yes. Is that how they did it, by the way? They had been joined by Alasdair, our resident Unix guru, and as luck would have it, someone who knows VAX assembler. So our plan became this: write a program in assembler which would either rename TMP to etc or make etc, assemble it in another VAX, UU encode it, type it in the U encoded file using my GNU, UU decode it, run it, and hey presto, it would be all plain sailing from there. By yet another miracle of good fortune, the terminal from which the damage had been done was still su to root. Su is in bin, remember? That means the su cannot be deleted, right? Because it's in use? Is that what they're implying by that? I'm not sure. Either way, my RM was deleted. Not that that would be useful. And this is the program that they wrote. I had a handy program around for converting ASCII text to ASCII hex to binary, doesn't everybody? And the output of user bin sum tallied with our original binary. How do you set execute permissions without bin chmod? Oh. We write the binary on top of an existing binary owned by me, problem solved. That's true. Yeah, if I write exit, it's over. That's why I didn't try to see if we still have a reboot or shutdown or any of those programs. Well, I did try one, but it didn't work. I didn't want to try any others because I would fully lose the system at that point. Carefully remember to set the umask to 0 so that I could create files in it using my GNU and run the binary. Right, because they were actually in Emacs. That actually makes it easier. If I wanted to do this, I would very much have to do this. Again, I would very much have to do an mkdir at the very, very least. I can write files, but I cannot write folders. Again, it's just like Lisp. You need to put your GitHub in the description 2 times? I just updated the description a while ago. Did I do that? YouTube, could you show me my description? Where is it? How do I see my description, actually? Ah, here. Oh, I didn't realize it was there twice. Thanks. Now, another interesting thing is we do have libc. If we have libc, we could technically write a program so long as we can compile it. That would be so convenient. Alright, let's find out. At this point, I'm just FreeBSD built-in compilers. I do remember it had Clang. I saw it, but I don't remember where it is. It has a Lisp compiler. No! I should have known that and checked it out. It has a Scheme compiler. No! Should have told me that earlier. CC. Okay, I don't think we're gonna have CC. Yeah. It was worth trying. FreeBSD CC locación. User bin. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It would have been interesting to start building shit with this, but it's gone. Is there no way to run syscalls from the terminal? That would be an interesting one to do. Why bin cc? What's going on there? Alright, now I am gonna look up FreeBSD recovering from RM RF. Yeesh. While trying to delete a directory and its contents, I wrote rmrf entire home folder instead of current folder. I realized my mistake in about 3 seconds, losing most contents of documents, Calibri library, and some other folders. Been able to recover 90% of the files, but I'm curious if there's any way to see the log. Restore from a backup. Okay. I don't think there is going to be any way for me to recover without literally doing that, you know. Not hex writing, to be fair, but... Well, yeah. There's... not much else you can do. And the problem is that even echo wouldn't work. Because echo's gonna write characters. If I try to do something like, 00FF32 and then echo that into a file, then that would not work because there's no way to see what's inside the file, by the way. But it would actually be the characters 00FF32, not the hexadecimal values of that. So echo wouldn't even work for this. PKG install, yeah. I don't think so. It would be nice if PKG was there. But yeah, even login doesn't work because it deleted a library that login relies on. So yeah, I don't think there is much I can do here. I'm just reluctant to halt, just in case there is one more thing. I would love to be able to give it a try, just for fun. But yeah, I think this is the best way we have. And this is what, by the way, Vax assembler, so that wouldn't work. But anyway, just to finish reading the article at least, because that we can do. They went to the terminal with the root login, carefully remembered to set the umask to 0 so that I could create files in it using my GNU, and ran the binary. So then we had an etc writable by all. From there, it was but a few easy steps to create passwd host services protocols, and then FTP was willing to play ball. Oh wait, they had FTP, but it just wasn't willing to play along without these directories? Then we recovered the contents of sbin across the ether. It's amazing how much you come to miss ls after just a few short hours. Selected files from etc. The key file was etc restore, with which we recovered dev from the dump tape, and the rest is history. A rescue? I don't think there is a rescue folder. No. No. We do have a libexec, which I completely ignored. LD. By the way, might as well take a look at dev now. Not that there's going to be anything useful in there. But nice to know that it exists. Maybe with dev you could actually be able to maybe make it a little bit easier to get stuff, maybe from USB, perhaps? Since we're in a more modern system. They didn't exactly have thumb drives all the way back in. There's no year to this. Yeah, there's no year to this. But yeah, they did not have that back then, so that doesn't help. Oh, wait, okay. Original Usenet 1986, but that's the original of when it was written. Probably not. By the way, /rescue should not have been deleted, right? That would make sense to not delete that. Because why was that deleted? Yeah, I feel like at the very least, if you're not gonna prevent bin from being deleted, you should probably prevent rescue from being deleted. That would make sense. But yeah, not an option. Although here, we may have the option to... is there a recovery partition? Is there a recovery mode? Something like that? I don't know. Anyway, very interesting thing. I think my system does have enough built-ins that this kinda wouldn't be a problem. In the default shell for it. Now, if you want to make bash for it, that's your own problem. Do so at your own risk. But in my shell, we have these built-ins. We have echo built-in, pwd, read, so cat, ls, cd, kill, and we don't have mkdir, but there is no mkdir in the system. You can't really create directories. That's a thing that I haven't done. GFX will always be overhead over Linux, since they use drmkmod. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what any of that means. The final thing, it's amazing how much of the system you can delete without it falling apart completely. I'm pretty sure it can't reboot into the system, by the way. Apart from the fact that nobody could log in, there's no bin login, yeah, and the most useful commands are gone, everything else seems normal. Describe normal, my dude. You cannot do anything with the thing. What's the point? Well, to be fair, they did have their home folders still there. Users still existed, so that helps. But yeah. Some things you can't stand life without, say termcap, kmem, and utmp. But by and large, it all hangs together. What is UTMP? What is KMEM? What is termcap? I really cannot live without them. I don't know what to tell you. Again, here we're talking about actual Unix, by the way. Well, we're talking about BSD, actually. DRMK mod is driver translator for BSD, so Linux to BSD. I see. Is that in reference to NVIDIA or just in general? I'm assuming they have native drivers for other stuff, just NVIDIA maybe doesn't? I don't know. Alright, well that's an interesting thing. And I don't feel like writing hex. I also don't have an editor to write hex. So I believe we are going to have to try to close this thing. Let's see if we're able to fully kill it. Halt not found. Shutdown not found. Login. Login actually exists. All GPU. Okay, yeah. Login exists. I haven't actually found login. Where is it located? Not in lib, not in libexec. It's probably sbin. Oh, it is there, isn't it? No, the other one. USR, I believe. Yeah, this has a bin, plus the file that I created. What is ports? Nothing. Anymore. chpass, login, passwd, and su. Okay. It's nice to have those, but yeah, it does seem like a little bit of an oversight that login requires a dynamic library, doesn't it? I feel like you would want to do these things completely self-contained. Then again, I want to do everything completely self-contained, so that's maybe just me. I feel like that's how I would do it. chmod is not a built-in, yeah, but I could change the change one of these essentially. That's really all I'm able to do. The first thing you should do is want to duplicate files. No, you don't. Well, you do need to, or that, or chmod. And then the second thing you should do, mkdir. Then from there, I think you're good. Unless you want to write an entire compiler in hex. Not even an assembly, in hex. Yeah. I'm actually surprised that... Hi, Peter. Your message got auto-translated by YouTube to this. Wow. Yeah, VSD and a VM. Barely, because I nuked it, but yes. You know what? I kind of want to do the same experiment with Linux. In a VM, obviously. Yeah, but essentially the only way to recover from this is to rebuild all your utilities, or at least enough utilities so that you can start copying them from somewhere else instead. Those are the only options you have. Although, hold on. In modern systems, we do have USB, which contains nothing, and VM. Okay, so shutdown doesn't even work. Halt doesn't even work. Exit probably will work, right? Is it time? I think it's time. Can't get user information. Wait, I'm back to my user, except it doesn't even know which user that is. Oh, you poor thing. Where are we right now? We're in the root. Because where else could you possibly be? Although I'm pretty sure that's where I left you. Alright, so what if we exit out of this one? Can't get user information. We're back on root. We started on root. We then went to my user, which it doesn't even know the name of. We then went back to root. Switch back. Yeah, okay. Obviously, nowadays it's a lot easier to recover. It's more so like wandering. I'm back on D though. Now I'm actually... That's interesting. Because here, I have to point on what's to the right. There's no username. But here there is. I'm back in... I'm in bin? But there is no bin. That's interesting. I was in bin, but bin didn't exist. And now I'm officially logged out of everything. I can't really do anything, but it also doesn't shut down. Oh, you poor thing. I'm sorry for what I've done to you. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. Alright, so obviously there is a question that I'm going to have to ask. Can it be shut down externally? Yes. An hour and 22 minutes uptime? Really? Alright, why do you keep asking for password? No snapshot. Show the graphical console. Oh, okay. I was wondering, how do I start it? There's a play button here. Can't find CFS loader. Can't find loader. You won't be able to find anything in boot. Mind you. We're now in boot. Oh. Can't find the LS. Where are we right now? It is trying to do something. Yeah, now it doesn't even do that. I think that's officially gone now. Even that didn't print. Damn, okay. Can't find anything. You poor thing. Alright. Alright. That's gonna be it for you. Thank you. Bootloader. I genuinely don't know even how to use it. There's nothing to boot. The poor thing. I feel bad for it. Alright, what are you shutting down exactly? You literally cannot boot. What's taking so long? You know what though? I do want to ask. Is it possible to do the same thing in Linux? Like, how different is it to do the same thing in Linux? I'm just... Yeah. Stop doing that. What Linux distro should I try this in? A terminal-only distro makes sense. Obviously not my own. Actually, what is Void Linux again? Can we give it a try? Void Linux? You wanna be nuked? Base will do. Although I do want to see the XFCE version of it. I want to check that out eventually, but not right now. Alpine or Nix? Oh, Alpine is very, very stripped down, isn't it? Actually looks quite... Security-oriented, lightweight Linux distribution based on muscle, libc, and busybox. What is busybox even? Implementation of many Unix commands in a single executable file. That's very smart. Interesting. Chimera uses BSD with a Linux kernel? Okay, now I do have to ask what's the point of that? Because it really feels like the user space between them is the same. Probably not if that's a thing, but I don't know. It's actually one of the very few usable distros. Which one? Alright, I'm gonna go with Void. Spoiler alert, it's not gonna like what I'm gonna do to it. I'm so sorry, my dude. You're not gonna enjoy it. I should probably delete that. Yep. Memory 192? Why only 192? No, I feel like you deserve at the very least 4 gigs. I don't think you're gonna need more than that. I'm gonna give you two CPUs so you can do something in the background if you feel like it. Void? I see. It's just giving me defaults? Does Void really need that little? Is it minimalistic like that, where it only needs 153 megabytes of RAM? Or was that... I definitely don't need 10 gigs. I'm fine with 3. Let's give you 10 just in case. Void Linux. RIP Void Linux. Yeah, while I'm at it, I'm going to just very quickly delete this one. Alright. Yep, that. Has the desktop environment pre-installed, I see. That's the point of POSIX, nothing is different. Yeah. No, more so I wonder what the question is, like, what's the point of shipping a BSD user space with a Linux kernel if the user space is the same as Linux? It literally uses the same things. Because if it had its own user space and it was actually good, I would have considered it for sure. 2 users are available to log in. See, BSD, that's what you do. That's what you do. You tell me how to log in. Password for root is void linux. Did I do it? Oh, I have to type void installer. That's the only thing I have to do. Okay. License, right. I keep forgetting the licensing is a thing. Think we're good with defaults. Do I have to do this for every one of them? No, I don't think so. Just go to install. The root password has not been configured. Okay, root password. And username, my name. That. Yeah, okay, the keyboard does need to be configured. I did not type EC, I typed DI. What is this keyboard? No, 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 no. What did I do to the keyboard? Wait, which one do I want? I just realized the password that I set is not the password that I think I set. Can't leave this empty. You would never guess what the password is. Alright, I'm in wheel. Okay, root password. Okay, luckily I'm able to set it again. Because I did not know what it was. See, because it doesn't show me the password, I didn't... the disk to install the boom. My fucking god, I am gonna enjoy nuking you. Use a graphical terminal for the bootloader? Sure. The mount point for the root file system has not been configured. Why do I need to explicitly do that? Where even is that? Keyboard, network, source. Probably will need a network, that's fine. Yes, you want to use DHCP. Is working properly, that's very good. Mirror, hostname, don't care about hostname, locale, time zone, user account, bootloader. Oh, file system, that's where I need to. Why can I not configure? It just takes me to source. Does it require me to do that before I... Why is it doing that? Why are you doing that? When I press enter to set the file system, it takes me up. Partition, that's fine. Okay, now it's giving me more than it did before, I feel like. Or have I actually not been in this one? Okay. GPT is fine. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, quit. Now can I do file system? Now I can do file system, okay. I'm not sure why it was taking me to source instead of taking me to partition. Not sure where you were going for with that one. But okay. We're gonna do ext. Mount point for that is going to be... This is still not the keyboard I'm used to. Yes. Done. Install. Yes. I only read 3 words out of each screen, so maybe I don't even need to run rmrf in root. Maybe I've already done it. It's a live image, so it literally just copies it. That's interesting. That is a smart way to do it, I believe. Alright, we're almost there. Not a fan of PTRFS. I like some of their songs, I don't know. What is PTRFS? Oh, is it the default file system that it was offering? I just know what ext is. Why am I so low? Rebuilding. What even is initramfs, by the way? That is a question that I do. Why is everything in Spanish? Systems with exotic drivers or setup or encrypted file systems need init ramfs so the Linux kernel is capable of handing over control to the init binary on their system. Once the Linux kernel has control over the system, by the way, I'm gonna... Yeesh. That's good. Alright, Void, we'll check it out some other time. Whatever. I want to finish reading this because I actually I haven't been seeing it a bit and I don't know what it means. It prepares its memory structures and drivers. Then it hands control over to the application, usually in it, whose task is to further prepare the system and make sure that at the end of the boot process, all necessary services are running and the user is able to log on. So it just kind of standardizes it, is what you mean? The init application does that by launching udev daemon, who will further load up and prepare the system based on detected devices. Okay, so can we get to the part where we talk about what it is? Oh, this is the Linux boot process part. Where all necessary files and tools reside on the same file system, the init application can perfectly control the further boot process. But when multiple file systems are defined, this might become a bit more tricky. When USR is on a different file system and drivers have been stored within USR, cannot be read unless USR is available. If those tools are needed to make USR available, then we cannot boot up the system. So init.rd is an in-memory disk structure, RAM disk, which contains the necessary tools and script to mount the needed file system before control is handed over to the init application. Does that feel overly complicated? Again, overly complicated and Linux go hand in hand, but does it not feel that way? I'm probably just not understanding the nuance of it, but yeah. Alright, listen, Void Linux. I'm gonna be so honest with you. We're not doing this. I just want to get a very simple Linux distro so that I can run RMRF and see what happens. Terry had a word for it. OpenBSD, its unique security and how extremely stable and hassle-free it is. Nice, interesting. Why do you have a 5-second delay? Wait, what do you... No, I'm not lagging. Alright, what distro should I try then? Shall we go back to Ubuntu? Next. Okay, I genuinely need something that isn't going to be so pedantic about the installer. Which one has the easiest installer that can get me to the system the fastest? Let me ask that question. Linux distro with the most straightforward installer. Pub OS and Linux Mint. Oh, Linux Mint probably. Pub OS is for gaming. uBlue distributions. Bazite. I've heard of that. Alright, let's try Mint. Fedora also. Alpine, just set up Alpine? Not so sure. Because all of them will have installers. The question is, how much time do I have to waste on the installer to have a default install? Man, they almost make it look good. Did I download? How many times do I have to press the download button? Is there a download button? No, just... Very nice that I had my IP there, but blurred. Because you needed to put that there, right? That was necessary. Fedora, yeah, might have been a... I've actually used Fedora before, and I considered Fedora over Debian. Bazite, yeah, but Bazite is for gaming. I just want something not specialized. But I do agree it's probably fast to install and simple. Linux is dead. Windows just did an update on my system without permission and it made my laptop hella slow with some stupid useless features. Ubuntu broke my network driver, for which the solution is to download it again. Let's not make this a competition. I've downloaded so much shit, I don't even know what I'm looking for. Non-detected. You couldn't detect Linux? Generic. Whatever. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Leaving Windows last year was very much my a good decision as well. Start in compatibility mode, OEM install, hardware detection, boot from local driver, memory test. I guess I have to start it to then install it. Alright. God, I always have like two hairs. The fans are blowing in my face, and since I have two fans, because that's the only way to survive right now, without AC anyway. I miss having AC. And my hair is competing for which way to go. Okay. Oh, it looks very... kind of toyish. It's the first impression I came up with this. Feels kind of toyish. Very flat, pastel. Not necessarily a bad thing. I think that may very much be the vibe that they're going for. All Linux is toyish? Did you see Void Linux? Nah. Alright, let's see. Let's do a little exercise. How many times can I press continue without needing to actually configure anything? So far, so good. I haven't had to do a single thing. Continue again. Install now counts as continue, by the way. I am in Madrid. Alright, now I do have to do something. This... I understand. What the fuck was that default name, bro? Alright, what if I don't give you a password and I tell you to log in automatically? I need a password, okay. Short password. Can anyone guess what the password is? No? There you go. Welcome, and thank you for choosing Linux Mint. This slideshow will show you around while the system is being installed on your computer. It's funny that I've never seen a distro do this. It makes sense that you do. How old is that Netflix logo? That is like DVD Netflix. What is that logo doing here? Spotify? Celluloid? And that... No, that's cellulite. Never mind. It's got WhatsApp, Slack, Discord, and Signal. Woohoo! The trifecta, the quadrifecta. I don't know what you call it. LibreOffice. Install software. The Firefox and the YouTube one, but the Netflix one feels like... Jesus, that's like... They're gonna send a DVD to my house. VirtualBox and Wine. VirtualBox by default. Why would you... Yeah, I guess because people will miss Windows and just go to it. Yeah, makes sense to ship it in a user-friendly distro. Okay, so the other Linux distros I've tried, I would definitely call them acquaintance, not user-friendly, user-acquainted. Maybe this one we can even go ahead and call it user, let's go get a drink sometime. Not quite friendly, but not just acquaintance. Not just, oh yeah, I know him. It's, yeah, we hang out sometimes, but never one-on-one, always in a group. Maybe don't install. No, I do want to install it because the reason I'm installing it is I'm trying to do RMRF on the root, like I did in BSD, and see what happens. Although I do have to ask, is the user friendliness maybe too much that it will completely prevent me from doing that? I do know that you need to do no preserve root. It's taking a bit. So that already, like, Linux does that. But will this have extra protections to prevent me from being able to do that? It looks very toyish, though. Look at all those icons and all that. Very, very toyish distribution, it feels like. Baby's first Linux. If it ever installs, that is. Oh, I now have 3 fans with the ones on my computer going crazy. It is getting kind of late though, so can we hurry this up? I actually haven't had dinner, so... Also, hey, the title is not clickbait, I'm about to kill Linux, so... Almost finished copying files. It looks like a clone of Windows 10? I've not looked at Windows 10 in a long time, but I don't feel like you're correct about that. Come on. Shit. Yeah, that taskbar is a little too flat. See, Windows was going for flat. What was the name that they gave to this design? This design, like, thing? I don't remember, but they had a name for it. Yeah, they were very much going for flat. Whereas here it's like more rounded. That's why it also helps. It's not minimalistic. It's not sleek and flat. It's toyish. All the rounded corners, flat icons, all of that stuff. Like that combination specifically is what makes it toyish. Very like large, kind of very large lines. Am I overanalyzing the design of this thing because it's taking forever? Yes. Metro, that's what it was called, yes. Also, this was an actual image. I need to stall. This was an actual image. Just crazy. But actually super creative. By design, they target Windows users? Yes. That makes sense. That makes sense. Again, it feels like the impression that I've gotten from it is that it's... Again, I was actually able to do continue, and the only thing I really had to do was give it a username. Makes sense. Zorinos looks more like Windows, but the similarities are there. Was that made by a Mr. Azozing? I've never heard that name before. A Mr. Azorin. Yo, this looks like Mac. Genuinely, for a second, when I was looking at this, out of the corner of my eye, I was like, that's just a Mac. Hold on. No, because that looks like Windows. Oh, it's like Windows and Mac had an ugly baby. Oh no. Oh. Revive your old PC, that's nice. Because of the lowered hardware requirement of Zorin OS alone, we are expecting to extend the life of City's PCs by 30 to 40%. City of Vicenza in Italy. Works on computers as old as 15 years, that's nice. With Ubuntu and Linux Foundation, Zorin OS is built on the same open source software that powers the world's most critical systems. With the help of Satan and Lucifer, we were able to... Come on! What is W Brazilian? French? French? What is French? Made up languages it's installing right now. Elementary OS is unique. I can see the genes of Windows XP. Is it because of the field? It's because of the field. Wait, it's removing the language packs or is it installing them? If you're removing French, I'm all for that. This feels like a wallpaper that I would find in Windows. Tell me about this image. What is it, that thing that it shows you in the lock screen? It's like... Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. Okay, it seems like this is done. This definitely looks elementary. Very much based off of the Mac dock. Looks minimalistic, but not bad. Well, I like it more than Mint, for sure. Alright, the real question is which one has the worst design? Alright, restart. Why were you yelling at me? The system will reboot now! There you go again with your bullshit. Linux Lite? What is Linux Lite? Oh wow, that is very light, yeah. Oh, that's kind of cute. Also feels toyish. It looks like an operating system, and kind of the same thing goes for Mint, that you would find in one of those hacking games that I've played before. That create fake desktops so you can play in them. That's what it feels like. Yeah, I just do sudo root. No, su root. And the password for root? Did I set one? Yeah, no, I didn't. Ooh. That just resized. How did I do that? Oh. Okay, this just got bigger, but it doesn't get smaller? Whereas this one, the actual window gets bigger or smaller. But then it doesn't get smaller. Why don't you want to get smaller? What is that icon? What is that? Yeah, this very much feels like what is the name of that game? Grey Hack? I played this one a while ago on stream, and look at the desktop. And this is kind of what it reminds me of. Even this one feels more real than what I'm seeing in Mint. Or that other one, what was it? Elementary OS. Right, what about Q4OS? That looks better. That's a nice design. That's just KDE though. That is just Windows. That is a mix between Windows 11 and Windows Vista, which... not 11, Windows 7. And Windows Vista. No, Windows XP and Windows Vista, or Windows 7, yes. Alright, so I do want to do sudo rm rf that no preserve root. I think it's supposed to be with 2 of these. But again, I don't know the password to sudo. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. Alright, yo, Infinite Coder, how's it going? No longer on BSD. I nuked it. Now I'm doing the same to Mint. Just for fun. ls, command not found. Okay, now we're talking. We have boot. Okay, so it should be able to boot actually. We have dev, we have run, and we have sys. Log, and user. That's stupid. Why am I doing echo? Interesting. Because this is actually not my home folder or anything like that. It's just run user. I don't know what that even is. What can I find in sys? Block bus class device firmware FS hypervisor kernel module and power. What about kernel? That's a lot of stuff. None of it I think is helpful to what I want. Is there anything in proc? Because it actually was unable to delete some stuff. That kind of makes sense. There are some running processes, of course. But don't think this is going to be super useful here. No, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do CD. Unlike BSD, I'm not seeing anything usable here. You can do mount to see which other file systems are used. Can I? Can I? There's a reason I'm doing this instead of this. Hold on, because this one's actually graphical, so... Oh, wow. It kind of knows the time and date, at least. Menu is still here, technically. Do we have a text editor? Do we have a... Okay, you know what is interesting, though, about this one? Is that... Damn it! Ah. Okay. I thought maybe you could do something like that. But no. Because when you are in a terminal-only distro, you are limited to the commands that you have. But when you are on a GUI, you are limited to the commands that you have and the programs that you have open. For example, if I'm able to do, if I'm already in the file browser, which you took over my entire keyboard now. How do I get back? All right. If I had the file browser open and I'm able to navigate, to root, and here I'm able to do create new, which I'm not allowed to do in here, but whatever. Maybe that can help you do something. But no, just touching the desktop automatically crashed the entire thing. The point that I don't even have a keyboard anymore. All apps are child of compositor. Why isn't that booted though? It's already loaded. It should be loaded to RAM. Alright, so that lasted a lot less than I thought. But let's see if it's able to boot. It did have a boot part, yeah, boot. Why do you keep doing that? It did have a boot, now we have rescue. This is why Linux is dead, by the way. I officially killed Linux. You can't tell me I didn't do that. You can't say this is clickbait anymore. And you know the funniest part? I actually have ls here. Because this is grub. I don't know how grub works. I don't think I could do anything with it. Also, the official application. What was that noise? There's nothing on that side. That's terrifying. Yeah, unfortunate for you, Linux, but you died. Not clickbait. Sorry you got timed out for that. Can I undo that? How can I now remove a timeout? Timeout again to 1 second. Okay. Ten seconds is the minimum I can do. Alright, I'm gonna snooze the ad because I'm about to end the stream anyway. And that's probably about 10 seconds, so that should be an... I need to refine how many caps is enough to time someone out for 5 minutes. Because just saying not clickbait should not have been enough, sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, you cannot say this is clickbait. I killed Linux with my bare hands and a keyboard. And our MRF no preserve root. And surprisingly, it's actually harder to recover it from a UI distro than it is from a non-UI terminal only. But anyway, for anyone who missed it, where is it? We need Laurie Kirk in here. I still cannot get over Laurie Kirk. I'm so sorry for laughing at that, but I was not expecting that. See, I've only seen her on Twitter and YouTube, where she just goes by Laurie Wired. But on LinkedIn, she goes by her government name, and yeah, don't expect that. Anyway, I am going to link this because it's an interesting read. Why is my context menu so small? I think I'm pressing paste. Alright, in case anyone is interested in reading it. Or trying to do it themselves. Personally, I'm not. I don't feel like writing hex. But I do think it's an interesting read of when they accidentally RMRF'd the entire system. Alright. Okay, well. That might be it for today. So, I tried BSD. I now understand why you would want to use something like this besides Linux. But from a end user perspective, I don't really see the benefit. But of course, from a licensing perspective and more technical, I guess you could call it, for more technical users, then obviously there can be a benefit. Unfortunately, though, I did see that it suffers from the same fragmentation issues that Linux suffers from. And when I say the same, I mean the exact same ones, because everything that has to do with user space is literally this. Well, not user space, but like everything that has to do with like visuals is literally the same, which sure can be nice, but yeah, it doesn't really offer any benefit to me. And when it comes to packages, I'm hoping since there's fewer distros and also less support, then it's not as annoying. But yeah, it's still fragmented in the sense that different distros use different package systems, and I really don't. No sneezing today. Okay. I really don't see the point of that. Well, I see the point, but I would love if these. I think these systems could definitely benefit from having more defaults. And I was hoping, without knowing much about BSD, that it would be more strong defaults. There is one with strong defaults that is technically BSD based, but that is macOS, and it kind of suffers from the opposite. If you don't like the default, there's no way for you to remove it. What is my hair doing? Yeah, Linux does have a bigger community, and again, unless you're doing something specialized, you can very much get a little something out of that. If not, well. Yeah, I feel like strong defaults are the way to go, and that's what I'm trying to do. And yeah, I was hoping for that. PS5 is BSD based. Again, that's another one in which you can't really customize it. Also, I was surprised by the way that people found out which version the PS5 uses. They found out it was BSD 11 probably, free BSD 11 probably because of some license. That seems like a very non-straightforward way of finding something like that out. And I'm surprised that there aren't more people who are digging into the PS5 internals. Even if you're not allowed to do it, you know people do it. You know that's a thing that people do, so. Very surprised that there isn't more of that, I guess, or... Again, I'm just reading, I'm just basing this off of a Reddit comment, so maybe there are people who do that. I just don't know about it. Alright, I technically knew that it was based off of BSD, but I did not remember that. Alright, unfortunately I forgot to snooze the ad again. So it is running right now, sorry about that. I'm at least gonna wait for that to finish before I finish the stream. However, I might be working on a new video. I mentioned that I was working on like hosting my own Git repositories, like my own Git remote, and even though it's not a super long topic to talk about, I did think it would be interesting to maybe make a video about it because of how simple Git remotes are, essentially, in the sense that you can just host a Git repository as a remote. You don't need to do anything special about it, like how GitHub is essentially just a nice wrapper around Git, pretty much. Maybe I'm gonna make a video on that. I'm still considering it. And then on, I don't know if I'm gonna continue streaming throughout the week again. Not very convenient for me to go outside nowadays. Unless I have two fans pointing at me at the exact same time throughout the day, I will literally melt. And Madrid has this really beautiful thing in which the metro literally does not use AC. They have it, but it doesn't work on all the trains. And people keep reporting it, and their social media managers are like, could you please tell me the number of the train so I could report this? Honey, it's easier if we tell you which ones it works in. So yeah, I live in a city that's becoming more and more unlivable. It is a heat wave right now, and even though it's not even the hottest it's been, it definitely feels stronger than usual. Outdoors, but not indoors, so I don't have a whole lot to do these days. Maybe I will stream again, but on Friday I will do my regular stream, and on that, I plan on starting to work on threading. Not multi-threading, just threading. Because the thing that I want to use it for is being able to do file system stuff. Technically, I need an entry point separate from your application. File system and user space, right? I need an entry point separate from your application that I can use to access the file system that your application provides without talking to the rest of your application. Eventually, syncing will be a part of that, and then multi-threading will come as a natural segue from that. But yeah, we're starting with threading, but not explicitly multi-threading. So we won't have to deal with locks, race conditions, and all of that racist stuff. Don't think that's the right word. Real Madrid or Barcelona? The only time I've ever been in that stadium has been for concerts. I couldn't really tell you. Yeah. Anyway. Alright, that is going to be it for now. So again, might stream again on tomorrow, or actually found out I'm not working tomorrow, so that's nice. I'm linking my Discord because I will post it in the videos channel if I do stream a few hours earlier. And not sure why it's only showing up once. It's in both chats, okay. It just got hidden. Oh no, there it is. It's in both, I just didn't see it. Alright, so I will be posting about it on the videos channel a few hours before I stream. If I have something to stream in the first place. And if I feel like streaming. Both tomorrow and Thursday. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I will see you sometime.